Good morning. Thanks for coming back to see what I spent on a vacation I went on recently. I went for 6 days and 5 nights to Southern California with my twin sister for a birthday trip. We just turned 22 years old and wanted to go do a fun trip, just the two of us. We spent most of our time on our vacation in LA, but we did drive all the way there and all the way back and stopped at a couple places along the way. I wrote down everything that I spent money on during my vacation to add it all up and show you what I spent. A couple things I want to share before I get started is that my sister and I almost always share food. So most of the numbers of what I spent on food is actually half of what the total amount actually was. A second thing is that I qualify for EBT, and I did use the EBT to get breakfast quite a few of the days. On a day-to-day basis, I don't consider that money I spent because it's money that I get to assist for paying for food. If you think you might qualify for EBT, I would definitely recommend going and filling out a quick 5 to 10 minute survey to see, because if it's money that you're available to get, then why not use it? One last thing I want to share before I tell you everything I spent on vacation is that I do consider myself to be pretty reasonable with money, but that doesn't mean I won't spend money to go do something fun or eat a really good meal. I'm going to go ahead and get started now and tell you everything that I spent on my vacation. First of all, I have what I spent on gas. So my portion of the gas was $110.56. The second main expense is what I spent on Airbnbs. The first night we stayed in Santa Clarita, and both of the Airbnbs we stayed in was a room in someone's house, and this worked out really well for us, mostly because it was cost effective and because we weren't planning on spending all of our time in the Airbnb or in a hotel if we had done that. We were planning on being out the whole day, so this worked out really well. The first night we stayed in Santa Clarita along the way, I paid $45.64 to stay in an Airbnb for one night that had its own bedroom and its own bathroom. And then the rest of the 4 nights, I stayed in the same Airbnb in LA. The total I paid for those 4 nights was $118.11, which only came out to $29.53 per night. And this is the main reason I really enjoy using Airbnb, because it's really cost effective. I also really enjoy getting to go into actual neighborhoods and see what typical houses that people live in those areas I visit look like. So let's go on to everything else I spent. The first stop we made on the first day was at McDonald's. I spent $1.07 on an iced coffee. We kept driving for quite a while until we got to Solvang, and there we stopped for lunch. We got a panini to share, and I paid $6.98 for the sandwich. After stopping for lunch, we walked around the little town for a while and got a couple gifts. One was for ourselves. We got olives. I really like olives, but unfortunately I didn't end up liking the ones that I bought, and I spent $6.50 on. My sister and I also got some coffee beans for our mom because she really likes coffee, and I spent $5.50 on that gift. After walking around Solvang, we went to the ostrich farm, which is in Solvang, and it was $7 to get in, and I spent 50 cents on food to feed the ostriches and the emus. After walking around the ostrich farm for a while, we kept driving about another 2 hours until we got to Santa Clarita, to our Airbnb. After driving all day, we were pretty tired, and instead of trying a new place in Santa Clarita, we decided to use a free coupon for Chipotle that we had for an entree and just paid for chips. So I spent 98 cents on dinner the first night. The next morning, it was Saturday, we woke up and went to the farmer's market in Santa Clarita, which was really cute. I got an orange juice to share with my sister, which I spent $2 on, as well as some really interesting tamales. One of them was a strawberry flavored tamale, which was pretty unexpected, and I spent $4 on 2 tamales. After checking out the farmer's market, we kept driving more south to LA. We drove around Malibu along the way, and we stopped at a mall somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where it was, but I got myself a new pair of earrings, which were $15.34, and I got myself a new nose ring, which was $18.60. I definitely do not recommend getting cheap jewelry, especially if your skin is really sensitive. For lunch this day, I tried out an Erewhon grocery store, which I actually really enjoyed. I thought it was going to be like an overrated Whole Foods, but it actually was a lot nicer, and it felt like the food was very well made. So although I did use my EBT and I didn't actually spend this money, I wanted to share how much tofu was at Erewhon. I spent $18 on a pre-made container of tofu. The tofu was delicious, but if it wasn't free, I would have had a hard time paying $18 for it. Our next stop was in Griffith Park. We went and took a little train ride that went around about a 1-mile track, and the ticket for the train ride was $4. This night, my sister and I went to a vegan Japanese dinner, and unfortunately, this one was probably our least favorite meal of the entire trip, and it was also the most expensive. So this one's a little bit of a regret. This one came out to $72.96. Although I didn't really enjoy the way the food tasted, I did appreciate the amount of effort they put in and the fact that it was an all-vegan restaurant. Now moving on to Sunday, June 26th, this was our birthday. So for our birthday, we decided to go get a bunch of free food for breakfast. After getting breakfast, we went to downtown LA and went to the MoCA Museum, which was free. It was a pretty short walk through the museum, but it was really pretty, and it had some fun art exhibits that you could actually walk through. After going to the museum, my sister and I shared a Lime scooter and went to a farmer's market that was in downtown LA, and the Lime scooter cost $1.44. We walked around the farmer's market for a while, which we got a free drink using EBT at the farmer's market. Right around the corner, we stopped at a Mexican restaurant to get lunch. We got tacos, and I spent $4.66 on lunch that day. This day was our birthday, so we went out to have another nice dinner, and I think this was my favorite meal of the entire trip. We got an appetizer that was stuffed zucchini blossoms, and I think that may have been the best appetizer I've ever had, and possibly the best item I had on this trip. And then we got 2 vegan pasta dishes that were delicious. On Monday, June 27th, we went to the grocery store and got a free quick breakfast. We got some yogurt and fruit and went and sat at a park to eat it. Then we headed to a cat cafe, which was $35 to get inside, and I got an iced tea, which was $2. There was a lot of cats, and there was also an outdoor catio you could go check out, which was really cute. After finishing up at the cat cafe for a while, my sister and I went and did surf lessons, which we had a lot of fun doing. Me and my sister and one other person got a private surf lesson, which was $45 on Venice Beach. And for dinner, we stopped at a local Mexican place and got a quesadilla for $5.65. Now going on to Tuesday, June 28th. The first thing I had to do was stop at Target and get Band-Aids for $2.18 because I had some really bad blisters on my toes from my sandals throughout the week. Then we headed to the grocery store to get free breakfast before going to LACMA, which is a museum in LA, and the admission was $21. I did really enjoy the art that was here, and it was a lot bigger than the MoCA Museum, but it also was $21, and the MoCA was free. This day, my sister and I ate some snacks we had in the car and went to a coffee shop to get a drink for $3.42. We decided to go back to the same vegan Italian restaurant we went to earlier in the week because there was so many things on the menu we wanted to try, so we went back to do that, and this time we spent $32.50 on dinner. And then we headed to a mochi place. We got really cute little pig-shaped mochi that was filled with fresh strawberries and cream for $5. The mochi was so cute and delicious and one of the best desserts I've had recently. So the last day was Wednesday, June 29th, and this was the day that we were going to drive back home. We started by getting a donut for breakfast, which I only spent 70 cents on, and then we went and explored an Amazon Fresh grocery store for the first time, and I got myself a chai in there for $2. I made a quick stop at Target to get a new purse that I needed, which was $21.64. And then we went to a head spa, which was similar to a facial, both for your face but also for your scalp, and it was a little over an hour-long treatment that was really enjoyable, and for the head spa and the tip, it came out to $100. After getting to relax for about an hour, it was time to start driving back. Going along I-5 on the way home was definitely not as fun as the way we came down to LA, and there was also very limited places to stop and eat. So for lunch, we ended up stopping at McDonald's, and I spent $3.06 on a burger and fries that my sister and I shared. And for dinner, we stopped at Taco Bell, which was $3.75. That was everything I did and spent on my vacation. The total for the 6 days and the 5 nights that I went on vacation came out to $745.89. So I feel like this total is pretty reasonable and something I'm comfortable with spending on a vacation that I went on for 6 days and 5 nights. It is all of the food that I ate, and I ate some really good food that I enjoyed. Also all of the places that I stayed at, as well as all of the gas that I spent throughout the entire vacation, despite gas being pretty expensive right now. I have another video coming up soon talking a little bit about how I make money as a dog sitter. I do a couple other things, but dog sitting is mainly what I do right now for a little bit longer. In another video in the near future, I would love to talk about how I go about planning vacations, and figuring out how to go on fun vacations affordably is something I really enjoy. So I look forward to making that and to sharing it with you all as well. Thanks for staying to see what I spent on my recent vacation to LA, and I hope you come back for another video soon.